So welcome back to another video, and today it's all about the top 10 boiler issues and how they can be repaired. Now, many of these faults can be repaired in the time it takes to drink a cup of tea. But the purpose of this video is to help you better understand the background of some of these issues and how much they're going to cost to have fixed. You might also find some information about how to repair some of these issues yourself, because not everything needs a gas engineer. Sometimes it's a simple reset, a simple repressurization of your boiler, and we can get you back online. So let's jump into the video and give you all the information that you need. Okay, so let's start with number 10, and it's a pretty obvious one: no power to your boiler. So this boiler here has got nothing on the screen, and you might think it's dead, and it might sound a little bit silly, but it is so common that either a fuse has blown or simply the boiler has been turned off by mistake. So the first place to check is the power source. Check the fuse. If you're going to change the fuse, make sure you're only putting in a 3 amp fuse, because that's going to protect your boiler, and check any power sources to make sure that we have got power to the appliance. If we have got power to the appliance and we still got no screen, we probably need to call an engineer, but you might be surprised. You press a button and it all comes back to life. In at number 9 is either a burner issue or a pilot light issue. So if you've got an older boiler, sometimes these have pilot lights, and this is a little flame that stays on 24/7, and when the boiler is called for heat, that flame turns into a bigger flame, and that's what boils the water. Now, sometimes these pilot lights, they blow out, so wind goes down the flue if it's been a windy night, and it can simply blow this light out. If it doesn't auto restart, then you can reignite the pilot light, and that'll bring your boiler back to life. If you've got a more modern boiler, then you might have a burner or an ignition issue, and usually on the front of your boiler you're going to get an error with a little flame and a little warning symbol telling you there's a problem with the ignition system. And this is either going to be caused by the gas being turned off, it's going to be caused by either an actual faulty product inside the boiler, or it also could be the boiler pressure. I'm going to come to that later on in the video. So number 8 is that we've got hot water, but we've got no heating, or we've got heating, but we've got no hot water. Well, this can be caused by something called a diverter valve. So a diverter valve is like a T-junction on the roads. Hot water goes one way and it goes left for your tap, so it can go right for your central heating. So these junctions, these diverters, are operated via motors or little servos, and from time to time these either burn out or they get stuck, they get gunk in them, and they start to reduce their performance. Now, changing one of these isn't really a DIY job, because you've got to open the boiler case, and you're not allowed to do that unless you're a gas safe engineer. Now, the parts are going to cost around 150 to 200 pounds, and you'd expect to pay about 100 to 200 pounds to have that part replaced. So if you've got this issue in your home and it's not your controls, because you've got your hot water turned off, for example, you're going to need a diverter valve, and you're probably going to spend about 400 pounds. Okay, number 7 is your thermostat isn't working. So when you adjust your thermostat, that should adjust your boiler, and if it's not responding, then it's going to be one of a few things. The easiest one is batteries. Again, sounds obvious, but sometimes even if the screen is showing, the battery signal, if it's a wireless unit, hasn't got enough power to reach the receiver. So for the sake of £1 or so to get some new batteries, worth changing those. If that doesn't fix it, then it may be an actual fault with the unit. Now, if you need to manually override this, then if you go to your boiler and you find the receiver for your thermostat, usually there's a manual override button. So if you're in an emergency, you just need some heat, you can press that button to turn it on and press that button to turn it off. If you need to replace your thermostat, an electrician or a gas engineer will be able to sort that out for you. Number 6 is condense issues. Now, modern boilers are condensing, meaning as a byproduct of their production of heat, they produce lots of excess water, and this goes down a little drain and either goes outside or goes into your sink. If this drain becomes blocked, then it will stop your boiler from working. Now, this can be an easy fix, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's cold outside and it's frozen, because sometimes they go into sinks and food waste can block up that sink, and these have little sensors built into the actual condense trap. So if the condense trap spots the water slowing down or is reluctant to move, the boiler will switch off. So if it goes into your sink, use some drain cleaner, try and clean that blockage, and the boiler should restart. You may have to reset it. If your condense goes outside and it's winter, it's below sort of 1 or 2 degrees where there's potential it could freeze, then simply boiling a kettle and pouring that warm water over your external condense pipe will prevent that issue. Now, some systems have internal condenses, so like this boiler here, the drains are internal to this property, so there's no real risk of it freezing and it's not connected to a sink. So we could rule out a faulty condense in this scenario. Number 5 is radiator fault. So not all problems with central heating systems are caused by the boiler itself. It can be these: radiators either not getting hot or taking forever to warm up. Now that's usually down to one of two things. It can either be a sticking valve on a radiator. So if you've got those little thermostatic radiator valves, then sometimes there's a little pin in there that can get stuck. And it's pretty easy just to unwind that valve, get a pair of pliers and free that pin. Alternatively, if your radiator is cold at the bottom and warm at the top, then that's an indication that you've got sludge. So sludge is basically debris that go around a heating system. They collect at the bottom of radiators and they prevent radiators from getting warm. To fix that, you'll need a flush, and these cost around £200 to £500 depending on who you use. And the last one can be air in the radiators. So the first thing to check if a radiator is not getting hot is, does it need bleeding? There's a little bleed key on the side here. Open it up, do it when the system's cold, otherwise you'll burn your hands and you'll be able to get all the air out of your system. Number 4 is no heating or hot water at all coming from your boiler. Now this is a bit of a tricky one because it could be anything, but let's start with the basics. Have we got gas? So if the gas is turned on your property and you've got a gas hob, just test to make sure you've got gas coming through. Have we got power to the boiler? We covered that earlier on in the video. Are the controls set to have the heating and the hot water available? Check that thermostat. And have we got any error codes on the front of our product? So if our boiler's got an error code, we can get the manual out and find out what's going on, what the fault could be. Most likely when you have these scenarios, it's either a lack of gas, you've either got a blocked condensate pipe if it's a modern boiler, or you've got an error code and something needs resetting or something needs adjusting. So it's worthwhile having a look at the basics. If you can't figure it out, then what you need to do is get a gas engineer. And what you definitely don't want to do is take the cover off your boiler and start messing, because you need to be gas safe registered to open up a boiler case. Number 3 is a noisy boiler, or something called boiler kettling. This is where your boiler starts to make a banging noise. Now, this is either caused by poor circulation, that could be due to low pressure or a faulty pump. It could also be caused by the boiler having a buildup of carbon or limescale or sludge in the system. So if you've not serviced your boiler, then you're going to consider getting it serviced. And if you start hearing this kettling noise constantly, it's definitely worth getting it checked by a gas safe registered engineer, because it could lead to further issues. But do check that pressure, and also if you've got a separate pump, just check that the pump is operating. Sometimes pumps can fail, that stops water from circulating and causes your boiler to make those kettling or overheating noises. Number 2 is boiler pressure. Now this is a really easy one to fix, and it also is generally the root cause of most boiler issues. Best of all, it's free to fix. So when you get low boiler pressure, it can throw all sorts of fault codes into your boiler. You might get a burner fault, you might get an overheating fault, you might get a poor circulation fault, and sometimes you'll get a low pressure fault. It's really easy to check and it's really easy to fix. So boiler pressure is generally related to combi boilers and also some system boilers, and an ideal boiler pressure is somewhere between 1 and 1.2 when the system is cold. When it's operating, things heat up and the pressure increases, and you might see it sat around 1.7 or 1.8. What you don't want is boiler pressure above 3, and you don't want boiler pressure below about 0.4. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to find it on your boiler and also how to top it up if required. So all boilers are different. What you'll find, 90% of boilers have a mechanical pressure gauge where you'll be able to see where the pressure is sat. Some more modern boilers don't have this, they have digital gauges, much like this V-Smin here, but it's pretty easy to find. You press the menu button, you press it again, you press it again, and you'll get to the boiler pressure. So right now, this boiler's running and it's sat at a perfect 1.7. What we're going to do now is drop some boiler pressure out of it, and then we're going to top it back up to that 1.7 mark. So when you've got your boiler, generally you'll have one of these. This is a filling loop. Sometimes again, these are built into the boiler, but usually they're separate. They're like a flexible line, and you've usually got 1 or 2 taps. All you need to do to increase your boiler pressure is turn these taps on, turn them 45 degrees, and you'll hear water going through. Once you reach the right pressure, turn them off. So if your boiler pressure is too high, then you don't need to panic. There's a quick way to get the pressure out of that system, and it's using one of these, a radiator key, because what we're going to do is bleed the radiators. Now, when you're doing this, I would advise to do it when the system is cold, because there might be some water that spills onto your hands, and you don't want hot heating water on your hands. Sometimes it has chemicals in, so you might want to wear gloves as well, health and safety. But essentially, you get a radiator key. These are about £1. Plug it into the side of your radiator. Now, some of these here, just before we do this, have a little twist nozzle on the side of them. So you can actually angle the nozzle where you want the water to come out. Put the radiator key in, get yourself a little jar or a glass, turn it on. Now, ideally, you'd have another person at the boiler shouting out the pressure as it drops, because this could take 3 or 4 minutes, and you want to have that key handy and make sure you can shut it off as soon as your pressure has dropped. You don't need to swing on that radiator bleed valve to turn it off. Just turn it and give it a little nip, because if you put it in too hard, next time you come to do this, you probably won't be able to get it out. And in at number 1 is boilers leaking. Now, this is a pretty broad range. Again, it could be anything, but usual suspects when it comes to leaking boilers are either, like we just adjusted the boiler pressure, sometimes you forget to turn those little levers off, you put too much pressure into the boiler over pressurizes, and the seals inside the boiler start to weep. So the first place to check is your pressure gauge. If you're seeing pressure above 2, maybe going towards 3 bar, you're going to want to let some steam, some water out of the system via one of the radiators. Alternatively, if your boiler pressure is normal but your boiler is still leaking, then it's likely going to be a failure with an internal component. So if you think about what a boiler does, they're constantly on, they're constantly off, they're expanding and contracting, and over time things, seals, gaskets just sort of wear out. Now, to get this fixed, you're going to have to get a boiler engineer out. Now, usually if your boiler has been leaking, that water has gone into other components and starts to cause lots of damage. So if you're seeing lots of excess corrosion or water coming out of your product, then usually it's not going to be economically viable just to simply repair it. You're going to need to replace that product, because simply paying an engineer to fix the leak will stop the water from running. But if that water's gone onto the PCB or other electrical components, then you're probably going to end up writing that boiler off. So hopefully that information was useful in helping you diagnose faults with your boiler and how much they're going to cost to repair. Now, if you do want to arrange a repair for a product, then we offer that service on the Heatable website. Alternatively, if you just want to go out and replace your boiler, then we also offer that service with a next day installation available, and you can actually finance the product, and payments start from about $29.99 per month. Also, if you like to watch more boiler content, or you're interested in finding more about heating systems or renewable technologies, then please do like and subscribe to the Heatable YouTube channel.